Deadline. We've read all these speculative reports that you are out, that there's a frenzy for the next person who's going to take over Lucasfilm. What is the truth? And so here's her actual quote on it. The truth is, and I just want to say loud and clear, I am not retiring. I will never retire from movies. I will die making movies.
What?
That is the first thing that's important to say. I am not retiring. What's happening at Lucasfilm is I have been talking for quite some time with both Bob and Alan about what eventual succession might look like. Why have you been talking about that? If you're never retiring, then why would you need to talk about someone taking your place?
In the name of the Galactic Senate of the Republic, you are under arrest, Chancellor.
Again, bullshit. Clearly, there has been rumors or something has happened where this information is definitely accurate, where she is talking about stepping down. If I was never going to step down from the channel, why would I be looking for someone to take my place? It makes no sense. So I can oversee it in the background? Well, that means someone else is going to be making the decisions. And over time, someone else is going to be completely making the moves that I used to be making, but in their own vision. We have an amazing bunch of people here, and we have every intention of making an announcement months or a year down the road. Not really precise. We are in lockstep as to what that's going to be, and I'm continuing. I'm producing the Mandalorian movie right now, and I'm also producing Sean Levy's movie. Oh yeah, until she cancels those ones too, which is after that. So I'm continuing to stay at Lucasfilm and looking very thoroughly with Bob and Alan as to who's stepping in. So that is all underway. And we have every right to make that announcement when we want to make it. Well, yeah, of course, but do you guys ever make announcements? No. Remember what happened with the Kenobi show? It was supposed to be a trilogy, and then you basically put a gag order on Ewan McGregor to not say anything. Why? So weird. And then you took Stuart Beattie's script, which is a beautiful trilogy that would have actually made sense and had so many fans excited and paid homage to George and these characters, and you fired him, gave the script to Joby Harold and Deborah Chow, who made it some sort of a bastardized, diluted, really horrible version of a Frankenstein of what that script was, and you freaking stuffed it into 8 episodes. Now, so I'm continuing to stay at Lucasfilm and looking very thoroughly. Well, why are you looking very thoughtfully for a replacement if you're not stepping down? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Deadline. That you are looking within seems to give credence to what we've heard, that an exec like Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni is in good position as he works on a Star Wars to write and direct. She says, I can't say who it is because there's just an internal process that goes on inside a large corporation and a publicly held company as to how we go about making deals, finalizing decisions, and making announcements. There's nothing unusual about that, and we're in that process. Well, you wouldn't have announced this 5 years ago because you were still staying at Lucasfilm. But the reason you're announcing it now in a few months or a year is because you're stepping down. Because you're going to go do other stuff. This flurry of press coverage, it sounds like chaos. What's the reality? Chaos? There has never been any chaos because we know exactly what the plan is. Oh, kind of like the sequel trilogy? Kind of like all of the shows?
We do know that there are some that have been shelved.
Well, they haven't been shelved.
Oh.
Most things haven't been shelved. Development is a complicated, long-term process.
Such a lameness.
It's often not a shelving. It's just, is it ready?
No, you never had a plan for anything to do with Star Wars. And it has come out so many times in the woodwork, whether it's John Boyega talking about it in his interviews with, what was it, Variety or something like that? Or was it Daisy Ridley telling Josh Gad that there really was no plan, that they had no idea? When all along, I watched you on stage, Kathleen, when you were talking about Episode 9 at Star Wars Celebration in Chicago, and you had what's-his-face, J.J. Abrams there next to you, and you said, guys, we have a plan. You have no idea how passionate he is about this, how much he cares. It's just the same old spiel of trying to trick us.
We've taken to heart everything that inspired George, and then I think the inspiration that JJ's brought to this has given it even more depth.
You guys had no plan, and it clearly shows in the movies that you made and the shows that you made. I mean, who spends $200-something million for The Acolyte when it's an absolute travesty? And if it wasn't, you guys would have at least done a season 2, you know? And we've been talking about it, as I said, nonstop for the last couple of years because for obvious reasons, I'm not going to be here forever. George asked me 13 years ago to step in, and now I'm looking at who's going to replace me. And as I said, we have a bench of people internally to handle the business, the creative side. I'm still waiting for that to happen. I think a lot of us are. We haven't seen any sort of creativity whatsoever, unless it's from Jon Favreau. The job has grown also since I stepped in. There was no streaming. There weren't a lot of things that we're involved in right now going on. So it has grown. Well, of course, just like any business, it grows. But at the end of the day, growth necessarily isn't always a good thing. The growth of tumors, for example, aren't really something you want. And in this case, you've allowed the literal chaos within the fandom to continue to grow with your constant divisive decisions and your berating of fans who really disliked your lack of vision and lack of any sort of plan whatsoever when it came to protecting this baby that George Lucas handed off to you. And yet you want to sit here with your smile and say, chaos? There's no chaos. We've had a plan every single step of the way. Bullshit.
Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen.
You haven't. Because people wouldn't be asking for you to step down for years and years because you've ruined such a beautiful, powerful franchise that George Lucas trusted you with. I wonder how these people look at themselves in the mirror before they go to bed at night. It's wild to me. How far down the road do you expect before a change gets made and then you go off and produce these two big Star Wars things? We'll probably make an announcement months or a year out. I have every intention of sticking around to help that person be successful. I'm already producing the Mandalorian movie, and Sean Levy's is after that. I recall these same retirement predictions were rendered a while ago, and you re-upped, and here you are. What do you make of this fixation on your job status? I truly don't know. Well, maybe it would be good to get some insight. At least you could understand why there is so much vitriol, why there are so many people that are passionate for you to step down. And any discussion previously about me retiring or quitting or any of those things, that's complete rumor mill, because through all these reports, I have just continued doing my job and continuing my contract. Yeah, and how's that going? How's the fandom? You got to think of it like Star Wars fans are your children. And why are all of your children so hateful? Why are they fighting so much? It's because you've abandoned them. It's because you've literally turned your back on one group and favored the other. And the funny thing is, you turned your back on the group that was there for you and got you this job. And that's really unfortunate. And I don't think any of us will ever forgive you for that. Not only that, but you've also made Dad go away. Just destroyed everything, essentially. Nothing unusual. It has all just been manufactured. Yeah, the rumors are probably manufactured. I mean, I'm sure it's great clickbait. We've seen it for years and years on end where people are like, she's leaving. And every time it's a bullshit rumor. But this time it actually seems to be very credible, because even her herself, she can't dance around the fact that, yes, she is. She's looking for a replacement, and in the next few months to a year, she's going to have it.